Welcome, Rangers fans, to another edition of our Midweek Coaches Show, where we recap the previous week in Ranger athletics and look ahead to next week. And as we do first each week, when you start saying look back, the Ranger football team had their district opener against the Wagner Thunderbirds here in our stadium last Friday night, and were able to capture a 24-7 win over a highly touted team, a very well-respected team, Wagner, a team that certainly has district championship aspirations of their own and quite capable of making a deep playoff run. So to be able to beat them at home in front of a great Ranger crowd and to be able to win like we did against such a quality opponent, you know, we felt good about that. And we'll start with Coach Westerfer, Craig Westerfer, our defensive coordinator. Wagner been, with their Navy-style, military academy-style option offense, been averaging about 500 yards a game rushing.
Yes, sir.
We hold them to 7 points. How'd that get done?
Our kids did a really good job of executing the plan. We were concerned a little bit about their speed on the perimeter and the perimeter run, and I thought we played that really well.
Right.
Kids were really locked in and focused and fit the run, short of one explosive play, really well. Really limited their explosives. They'd been a team that, you know, they get 4 or 5, 6, and then 60. And
right.
4 or 5, 6,
right.
and then 40. And then we did a good job of limiting those explosive runs, and we're able to hold them to significantly less than the 500 yards, and that was the whole key to the whole game, I thought.
Thought so too. You know, lack of explosives with a team that had made a living on it, and then when you say explosives, everybody talks about the long run, but oftentimes they get the deep pass. They don't throw much, but everybody commits to the run. Next thing you know, somebody's running behind someone. And
yes, sir. And they tried that on us, and,
right.
and our secondary kids made some good plays on the football when they did.
Right.
And so overall, I was really pleased with the effort of our kids, but more than that, really the focus and the concentration, the attention to detail that they had in preparing for that style of offense, which you don't see every week.
Right.
And then being able to take it out on the field and execute it. I was really proud of our whole defense.
Well, they did an outstanding job, created another takeaway with
sir.
a big interception with Nicholas Zakowski. And then, of course, before we get to the offense, the kicking game played a big role. We got a big stop, and then they had an errant punch snap that we threw the guy down on, the 8-yard line, went in and scored. And then, of course, we're up 14-0 at half. And they kick off to us to open the second half, and Jackson Duffy, takes that thing on one hop. It kind of dives in, he picks it up, and he goes, runs it back, second touchdown return of the year. Now suddenly it's 21-0, and while the game still has a lot of time left, Wagner's certainly capable of coming back. You are putting them behind the 8 ball at 21-0. So I thought our kicking game really shone. We had all touchbacks on our kickoffs with Clay Amaya. He made all of his extra points and field goals, punted well. So those are things that don't normally show up, and we want to feature that. And Coach Hill offensively benefited from some short fields early on.
Yes, sir, we did. Got the ball, I believe, on the 8-yard line after the punt, and we were able to punch that in. I think I don't want to say inconsistent offensively, but we were kind of hit or miss. Wagner's defense was tremendous. They're an extremely physical team,
right.
A great front seven. But we were able to punch it in early right there. And then the second drive that we scored on, we had a really explosive play. Rylan Walker hit Freddie DeBose on the sideline on kind of a deep comeback route. And Freddie broke a tackle. Jackson Duffy, who we just mentioned, had a great block downfield. And that got us within scoring range, and Cole Freund punched it in from there. Then, in the second half, whether it was expected or not, kind of had a little bit of a lead, get up 21 points on a really good team. Right. It might be time to start taking the air out of the football, and we were able to run the ball well enough, I think, in the end to get a field goal with Clayton Amaya to kind of finish the game off.
No doubt, and I think we had 32 snaps. Wagner tends to hog the ball, not just that they run a ton of plays, but they're usually running plays. Our defense did play well, stopping them short of the first down, so there's no clock stoppage to move the chains or runs out of bounds. So it was a short game with that regard, and so it's an unusual game, as it usually is with Wagner. But you just try to survive and win and advance, and we did just that to go 1-0 in district play, and that's one of the contenders. If you have aspirations for the playoffs or the district championship or both, you're going to have to go through Wagner, and we did that. But unfortunately, there's some others that we're going to have to go through, and starting with the Canyon Cougars, who are playing at an extremely high level, and we draw them this week on Friday over at Canyon and on our last game before our open date. So we'll talk about that game and Canyon coming up next. But first, as we do each week, we want to pause here in the middle and send it over to Melissa Miller, our assistant athletic coordinator, and she's going to talk about what has happened in our other sports this past week, and then at Smithson Valley, and then look ahead at what's getting ready to happen the coming week. So we'll toss it to you, Coach Miller.
Thanks, Coach Hill. And because Coach Hill didn't mention it, we are obviously going to. If you didn't watch the game on Friday, that win for Coach Hill solidified his 300th win of his career. They did a fantastic ceremony, put it together for him. So it was a pretty exciting night.
Yeah, so congratulations, Coach Hill, on all of your accomplishments. We are very appreciative of your dedication to our Rangers.
Speaking of accomplishments, let's talk about the rest of our sports that had some big wins last week. Our volleyball team had 2 full program sweeps, so all of our teams were victorious against Veterans Memorial and Wagner. We hosted a great middle school night on Friday with all of our middle school kids out there, did an awesome autograph session. So thanks to Spring Branch and to Smithson Valley Middle for bringing your kids out. It's always one of our most fun nights of the season. And then Saturday we hosted our JV and freshman tournament. Both of our teams brought home second place trophies. Very proud of them and the way that they played. Speaking of Saturday, cross country went out to Hayes for the Hayes Invitational. Our boys finished second out of 14 teams. Shout out to Braden Youngdahl, who brought home second overall. And then a huge shout out to Mia Perez, who brought home first place by 43 seconds, which is pretty substantial in a cross country meet. So Mia's always run well, but to win a varsity meet by 43 seconds is impressive. Coach Hall also wanted to give a shout out to Zaylee Zimmerman for a great finish. Moving into water polo, our girls had a tough loss versus Davenport last Friday. However, they did score 8 goals, which is their highest of the season. Huge improvements every week for those guys. Our boys scrimmaged for the first time, so we're still looking for one more boy to complete our water polo team. If you're interested, let me or Coach Duckworth know. We need one more to actually have matches, but right now the boys are still traveling, they're scrimmaging, they're having fun, playing hard. So looks like we're getting a water polo team together.
That's exciting.
Yeah. And then tennis had a tough match out at Kerrville-Tivy last week. They ended up winning 10-8. So huge shout out to Coach Lalonde, Coach Albright. They said that Kerrville-Tivy had some loud fans and it was a great environment for their kids, and they're really proud of how their kids persevered and ended up winning that match. So that's everything that's happened this past week. Right now, we've got a new segment that we want to do. We've got some teachers and students that we want to highlight on this campus. And so I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Snyder, and you can tell us who those are.
So we've asked for nominations, and the student that we are highlighting this year is Lillian. She is a freshman, and she just transferred here from the Houston area. She is enrolled in our Spanish 3 honors class, and as a freshman, her work ethic and desire to stay in the class is incredible. She is keeping up with effort and doing extraordinarily well. She is perseverant, and she navigates a new school, a new team, new friends. She definitely deserves a shout out to be our student of the week. That message came in from one of her teachers. We also would like to highlight 2 of our important staff members, Mrs. Carson and Mr. Palos. They're helping us, they're stepping in and filling in for us temporarily, and we are just so proud of how they have both taken on the challenge of starting the school year with our students and have strived to provide them with conducive learning environment in ASL and Spanish. So kudos to them. And we want to highlight one more teacher, Miss Trussell. Miss Trussell did a fantastic job in our pep rally. She works to get all of the details organized, and we can thank our celebration and our good time to all of her efforts. So thank you, Ms. Trussell.
Thank you, Ms. Trussell. It's a great opportunity for the athletes, band, dance, everybody that you include. I know it is not easy. As someone who goes to the prep rallies, it looks flawless and seamless, and I see the behind the scenes work that you do, and we just want to say thank you for doing that for our athletes. Speaking of our athletes, where can you find them this week? Volleyball takes a road trip this week. Tonight we are headed to Kerrville-Tivy for a very tough match against an undefeated Tivy team. Varsity will play at 7 with sub-varsities before that. And then Friday we're actually going to join football and head over to Canyon. Varsity will play at 7 against Canyon, and sub-varsities will play before that. If you're looking to find cross country this Saturday, they are heading to Kerrville for the Antler River Run. So good luck to them. If you're out that way, they have an early morning start Saturday morning. To Mia, Braden, all the runners, good luck. We hope you guys do well. And then water polo is right in the middle of their district season. Friday, they are at Piper. Again, we are still needing one more boy to officially have a team, but we're really proud of the boys that are there. They're still going out, scrimmaging, working hard. So if water polo is something you're interested in or at least want to chat about, again, find me or Coach Duckworth. We'd love to have that conversation with you. And then tennis has 2 home matches this week. So if you've been wanting to see tennis, they've got 4 o'clock start times. So if you're a student who's looking for something to do after school, I know our tennis players would love to see you down there supporting them. Today, on Tuesday, they are hosting Piper, and then Friday, they are hosting Bernie High. Again, first service at 4 p.m., so if you're looking for something to do, they'd love to see you out there. We also want to say good luck to football as they head to Canyon on Friday.
Canyon on Friday, and that is our official trivia for this week. When was the first time that we played Canyon High School? Back to you, Coach Hill, for the answer.
Well, that's a good question because I think a lot of people know Smithson Valley was the second high school in Comal ISD to open, and we broke off from Canyon and played them right off the bat. So what year did that happen? Anybody know? When did we play them first? When did the school open?
I think it was 1976.
Right? I think you're exactly right.
Bicentennial year.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. 1976, the campus was over at what is now Smithson Valley Middle School. That was the stadium that sits there now was the football stadium. So a lot has transpired since then, and we've played Canyon a number of times. And kind of on again, off again lately. They're 6A, we're 5A. We're 6A, they're 5A. Now we're both back to 5A. So we've been in their league, not been in their league, but started playing them again last year, and then here we are again in a second district game playing Canyon. Coach Nate Leonard and his staff and their players have put together, continued to have a tremendous program and build on the momentum that they generated last year. And let's start with their offense, Coach. We're going to have to try to slow them down. This is different than Wagner.
Yes, sir. They're very balanced. They have a quarterback that's playing really well right now. He's spreading the ball around to a lot of different receivers. He has a favorite one. Number 4 is a guy that they have that has been explosive. He's caught a lot of balls in every game so far. But they don't just throw it. They'll have a running back. They have 3 running backs they use. Number 25 has really been coming on lately, and he's been running for big runs, explosive runs on everybody they play. They try and spread you out, get you all spread out, and then be able to run the ball on you as well. So, different style of offense, but much like last week, it'll be a challenge. It'll be a challenge for our kids.
No doubt. And Coach, their defense, again, different than Wagner, different style of play, but very effective.
Yeah, it is different. They've got 3 down linemen, and then they've got some linebackers that they kind of move on a rope. They can be a 3-3 stack. They can slide them out to multiples or to whatever they deem the strength is. And the linebackers are extremely disruptive. They play their keys really well. They're very gap sound, clearly well coached. But they're really disruptive, and they're plugging and causing a lot of negative plays in the backfield. And then the secondary-wise, they kind of have a 5-spoke secondary shell that pre-snap, it always looks the same, and then when the ball snaps, they could be in cover 3, cover 1, cover 2, cover 4. They do a really good job of disguising that and changing those secondary movements up. So we'll just have to trust our progressions and communicate well, and hopefully that'll give us a chance to have success.
Well, we'll have to, and in a league like ours that's so balanced from top to bottom, you can't worry about last week, you can't worry about next week, you got to worry about this week and this opponent. And Canyon certainly got our attention, as every opponent does. So, we're looking forward to the challenge. It'll be this Friday over at Cougar Stadium at Canyon High School at 7 o'clock kickoff. And so we hope you'll make the drive to New Braunfels, and we're going to make a push to see if we can go 2-0 in district play. Thanks for being on, and we'll see you next time.